Imagine if Izuku Midoriya's quirk wasn't a gift, but a curse. What if his power was ancient rage, inherited through blood? In this what-if scenario, we dive into the darker side of Izuku's legacy. Let's explore how this curse changes his journey. Stay tuned. At UA, all the students were eager to start class. Some more than others. They were in their classrooms waiting for their teacher's orders. When the teacher entered, he indicated for them to be quiet, but it was a tall boy with glasses who caught their attention. Ida, everyone please be quiet, class is about to start. Aizawa, Ida is really useful. Okay, kids, today we'll start with the topic of. Suddenly All Might comes out interrupting. When Aizawa looked at him he nodded his head with a serious expression. Aizawa started to sweat a little and was shaking but he managed to keep control. Aizawa, alright students, today we'll have a new member of the class. Kirishima, oh is it strong? Ida, I wonder what it will be like. Mina, is he a pretty boy or a tough boy? Bakugo, what other extra? Aizawa, anyway, your new partner will be coming in now and I hope you get along with him. The students didn't understand what he was referring to but then some footsteps sounded. All Might entered the room and let the next heroes in who were escorting a green-haired boy with a mask that looked like the one they used to put on the mouth of those who are crazy so they don't bite anyone. He also seemed to have headphones on that seemed to have him in a trance or dream. Aizawa, Midnight, would you be so kind as to remove the headphones? Aizawa asked with some concern in his voice. Midnight was a little nervous. She knew that boy had some confidence with her or something of being calm and comfortable with her and the other heroes, but she was not confident that everything would turn out well. She carefully was taking off his headphones. The boy reacted by slowly turning his head to where she was making her jump a little, but he just looked at her and kept his gaze on the floor. The students didn't know what this was about but when they looked at the boy's uniform they noticed the chains he had on his hands. They were similar to shackles but seemed more reinforced. All Might approached the boy who looked at him cruelly. His emerald eyes were full of hatred with a dark look. All Might tried to approach him slowly telling him words to calm down. All Might, calm down young man, calm down, I won't hurt you, I just want to. He removes the chains and what is covering his mouth. That's it, do you feel better? The boy just nodded. All Might started to back away. The other heroes were retreating. Midnight was the last to leave with All Might giving Aizawa a worried look and asking him. Midnight, are you sure you don't want one of us to stay? Aizawa, I'll be fine. Then the two left. The others didn't know what this was, but Bakugo was furious. He thought it was a joke that it was impossible for someone to escort him like he was the president. The boy stopped looking at the floor and focused his gaze on the class, a gaze of emerald eyes but without any life. Aizawa, would you like to introduce yourself to the others? I'm Midoriya. No one heard him well since he spoke in a very low voice. When Aizawa indicated that he should raise his voice, his eyes shone intensely with emerald. I'm Midoriya. Aizawa gulped, okay, why don't you sit in the back? The green-haired boy went to his seat, catching the attention of the other students. They noticed his eyes were pale with life, he had scars on his hands, and his calm and firm composure was tinged with nerves or restlessness. His face in particular was tinged with happiness, it looked as if everything inside him was dead. The boy arrived at what would be his seat, sitting down calmly and staring at the teacher. Aizawa, okay, forgetting the delay, let's get back to today's topic. Aizawa continued with the class, speaking fluently and in detail about necessary and crucial information. No one then pointed out the importance of what had happened, until it was time to eat. Aizawa mentioned that they could get up from their seats and go eat, but when he realized that Midoriya was the last to leave he told him that he was not brought here to be enemies but to train and learn how to become a hero. Midoriya looked at him in the face and thanked him for the gesture. But he told him that he will not make promises if someone in the class bothers or irritates him causing him to hurt someone. Then he left the classroom. When he arrived at the dining room he saw all the students eating and chatting at their tables. He did not care, being taken to a different place that he does not know took away his appetite and he did not have in mind making friends. The boy simply walked directly to the empty table to sit and wait until the next class, but as always, the days always have those people who want to bother you no matter what. A blonde who was starting to say that Class 1A are a group of useless and idiots noticed his presence and decided to bother him. Midoriya did not care, he just ignored him and walked past him. Only when he did, the blonde did not stop bothering him. Monoma, wow, I didn't know 1A had idiots who are blind. And the boy continued and continued bothering until Midoriya had enough. Although it is usually a girl who hits the blonde to stop him from bothering her, Midoriya was the one who hit him to put him back in his place. He grabbed Monoma by the collar of his shirt and gave him a right hook that ended up bleeding from his nose and then threw him to the floor. Nobody expected that, not even those in Class 1A since they didn't know anything about him. Ma no ma, arg. You idiot broke my nose. Midoriya didn't even look at him and just kept walking. You asked for it, idiot. Kendo, we have to get you to the infirmary quickly. Ma no ma, I'm going to kill him. Kendo, fed up with her attitude, enough already, don't you see that you asked for it? Vlad King, what happened here? Suddenly appeared. Ma no ma, sensei, that idiot broke my nose. Vlad King, ma no ma. You better learn from this. Ma no ma, what? But if he is. Vlad King, as a hero you have to see how much weight you can bear, as a hero you cannot overestimate even your opponent and you have to treat others with due respect. While Vlad King was giving a speech or important words, Midoriya was sitting in one of the hallways where no one was. He began to remember his homeland, the cold snow, the lush forests and the rushing rivers. He sighed as he remembered all that. Now he was in a concrete jungle full of people who seemed annoying and full of stupidity. He just wanted to return to his old life, lonely, quiet and out of the reach of the city. While he sat still in that place, a tall boy with glasses looked at him with the intention of approaching. Midoriya sitting in the hallway of UA remembering his homeland with only loneliness accompanying him until. You're Midoriya, aren't you? A tall boy with glasses asked him. The boy just looked at him with his typical look without any spirit. The boy just moved his hands like a robot and said that even if the other had started it, he can't be hitting the other students since it is not an aptitude for aspiring heroes. Midoriya quickly became interested in knowing something about him. Midoriya, do you want to be a hero? Ah yes, that's why we're here. Everyone at UA aspires to become great heroes like All Might. Midoriya, All Might? Yeah, why are you acting like you've never heard that name? He was the one who took your chains off. Midoriya quickly remembered that moment where he was in front of the class. Midoriya, I'm not from here. Somewhat overwhelmed, why are you talking like that? Midoriya, I didn't have school or learn how to speak fluently. He felt a sensation inside him and decided to sit down. Was your life different before entering UA? Midoriya, he points out to himself, last descendant, homeland will be mountains far from here. Last descendant? Midoriya, parents, siblings, family, village dead, disappeared, no longer here. When he said this, Broccoli's hair became a little sad, as did the boy who was with him. But he stood up and extended his hand. Well, it doesn't matter, you're in UA and you're part of the class so you don't have to feel bad, Midoriya-kun. Midoriya accepts his hand and the other lifts him up. You are? Ida Tenya, president of Class 1A, and if there is something that bothers or worries you, it is my duty to solve it as well as to be aware of any situation in the class.
Midoriya, Izuku, my first name is Izuku.
Ida, nice name, but if you don't mind I'd like to call you Midoriya-kun. Izuku, it's okay. And with that, the two teenagers decided to walk down the hallway together and talk to each other. But they didn't notice those who were witnessing what had happened. Aizawa in a corner with the other teachers. Ida is really useful, the other teachers nodded. While the other corner. Mina, didn't you think it was nice? Tsuyu, are you referring to the new student or what happened? Mina, both. Momo, well, it did have some excitement. Jiru, I find what he said to Ida-kun sad, sorry professor, is that true? Miss Midnight, in the other corner, huh? Oh yes, that's right, Midoriya is the last of his lineage since the rest of his family and village have passed away. Uraraka, that's terrible, about to cry with Tsuyu calming her. Bakugo, what the hell are you doing in the corners of the hallway? Kirishima, turning his head to Kaminari and whispering, pretty weird if you ask me. Kaminari, nodded. While outside the walls the students are in the second class, which by chance is a hand-to-hand exercise. Ida showed that he was quite good in combat, but in the end he was knocked down. Everyone participated except Izuku since he stood there watching the others fight in this supposed training. Then it was Izuku's turn to participate. He got ready and went straight to the center. To his surprise, Izuku is up against a small and perverse boy named Mineta. Izuku doesn't know him, but he has seen him enough to know how his quirk works. Aizawa, okay you two, I don't want you to get hurt more than necessary, so don't get out of control. Mineta just gave an expression that made it very clear that he was overconfident. Izuku just looked at him seriously and then focused on his opponent. Aizawa, get started. Mineta was the one who started the attack. Throwing his hairballs at Izuku, who in fact, didn't even try to dodge, he just stood still. When Mineta finished and managed to see how Izuku was trapped, he started dancing and acting cocky. Mineta, I won. Take that, I'm better than you. Woo-oh. Izuku stood still, calm, until he moved his arm. Izuku, I see. Mineta, what? Izuku began to free himself from the purple balls without any effort. Mineta was in shock. How was it possible that someone could free themselves from that so easily? Izuku finished removing the balls that were on his upper body. And the ones on the lower body only broke easily on their own. Izuku started walking directly towards Mineta, scaring him with the way he did it. Mineta, how did you do that? Izuku, like child's play. Izuku threateningly got close enough to Mineta until he gave up. Mineta, arms extended in the air and creating eyes, wait. You win. You win. I give up. Izuku's eyes shone and he turned around to where he was waiting before. Aizawa, well Mineta, I think you're lucky, you survived the march of a berserker. Everyone, kiss what? Aizawa, we had planned to tell him before but from what I see there is no reason to keep it a secret. Everyone comes closer to hear what he is going to say. Aizawa, you see, the berserkers were barbarians who used fury and hatred as a source of power in the battles in which they fought like savages and... Aizawa was interrupted by Izuku who raised his voice in anger. Izuku, you don't know the truth. You're not telling the truth. The story you're telling is a lie. Aizawa, okay, you tell us the true story. Everyone focused on Izuku, who took a deep breath before telling the truth. Izuku, we berserkers are warriors who seek the reward of battle, we do not wear armor and we only use anger as an energy source, we are proud and we do not care about the temptations of the outside world or carnal sensations. Berserkers fight, win, die for glory on the battlefield and dying there is the greatest reward of all rewards. Why? Because our ancestors indicate that you not only meet the great Father of all, but you also reach celestial divinity where you will live forever in happiness and prosperity without fear or corruption where the peace of your being becomes an angel in the new world provided by the great Father, and I aspire to do that same. Everyone was somewhat surprised by that explanation but others were not convinced. Bakugo, what? Be an idiot? Izuku, with a serious face, to die. Bakugo, wait. What? It was the next day, the sun was beginning to shine as always. The light reached a house where someone was already awake, it was Ida. He was at his computer looking for information on a topic from yesterday that he found interesting. While searching through the articles a phone call began to ring. He picked up the phone and to his surprise it was someone from his class. Ida, good morning Yarozu. Yarozu, good morning Ida, are you looking for information on the berserkers topic? Ida, yes, it seems they have more history and influences than I thought. Yarozu, okay well listen to this, apparently they also wore armor but they divided into two groups, some went to Rome and others to where Japan or colder places would be. Those in Rome over the years began to decline since they were considered barbarians and many of them were annihilated by the military tactics of the Romans, the rest were tamed or raised as Roman soldiers. While those who decided on cold or frozen environments were changing their culture due to the influence of Nordic tribes and managed to travel the world and explore leaving only tribes and homes in northern countries and Japan, but they have been declining in the last 1,000 years. Ida, I see, that explains something but listen to what I found. Goes to the web page where he was. The great father of all was an idol or a symbol of great religious and cultural importance. It was not one of war but of protection and justice. It says here that he gave his life to save his people from all enemies. He has no relation to the Norse gods but it is said that he had a battle against a wolf and a large snake that destroyed the land that his people used to cultivate and prosper. It also says that he lost his left arm to save his children and replaced it with one made of stone. It is also said that he created a world where he will give every warrior the opportunity to prosper in a life full of peace, a paradise for all those who live through war and death. Yarozu, somewhat ironic, but stop talking about Valhalla. Ida, anyway, I'm hanging up to get ready for class. Yarozu, okay I'll do the same. They both hung up to get ready to go to UA before they were late. Ida was surprised to see Izuku sitting there with some kind of necklace in his hands. Ida, good morning Midoriya-kun, I'm surprised to see you here so early. Izuku, hello Ida-kun. Ida, is that something important to you? Izuku, yes. Necklace. Mother's gift. Represent. Great father. Ida, trying to be optimistic, do you mind telling me about the great father? I tried to find information on the internet, but there are many versions, and I don't know which one is true. Izuku, of course. Great father is love. Justice. Balance. Family. Ida was surprised to hear those words. Ida, please tell me more. Izuku, you'll have to listen to the whole story from beginning to end if you want me to tell you. Ida, yes of course, no problem. Izuku, a long time ago. Great Father was a Jotun who survived when the world burned with fire and lava. Narrated by Izuku. He was the last of his family, and inherited the powers of his father who had powerful magic. The world was burning, the earth was collapsing, the waters were drying up, and the animals were dying. But he used his power to recover the world by sacrificing his normal state. He used every last drop of magic to heal the world, but ended up turning to stone in a 2,000-year sleep. When he awoke from hibernation, the world healed and recovered the green of its vegetation and the purity of its waters. He dedicated himself to cultivating what was still missing to complete the new world. But in doing so, he met the woman who would become his wife. With the union of both, they had 9 children. The oldest one called Drammer. He was a warrior without equal, he defeated any enemy and honored all his battles. Although he had a bad reputation, he was fair, calm, and collected. The second was Utheron. Sorcerer Kula magic knew no end, his destiny led him to have an insecure personality and lack of confidence, but he did not doubt what had to be done for the good of the earth. The third and the loudest, Orbagan. He was a ruthless warrior, but not honorable. He had a conceited attitude and an unbearable personality. Even when he tried to show him a worthy path, he created it with his strategy and strength. The fourth, Ganodron. Although he did not stop visiting his family, he decided to have his own life next to the underground waters of the deepest caves, seeking wisdom and advice in the world of spirits whose portal lies in those waters. The fifth was the one who went to live next to the humans, Hobgon. Unlike his brothers and parents, he dedicated himself as an advisor and faithful servant to those humans who were leaders for their people. He proved to be a useful ally and a faithful friend. The sixth proved to be a woman of high-quality magic and beauty worthy of recognition, Euralia. Her knowledge of magic was backed up by her experience and expertise with her short sword, which she named after her deceased lover after an attempt to free her people from oppression. It is said that she still walks the land in secret, hoping to one day return her brothers from their slumber in stone. The seventh is none other than the one who decided to live with the beasts of the earth, Durble. His temperament was like most of his brothers, calm and patient. But he does not hesitate to attack anyone if necessary, with an incomprehensible fury that only a beast is capable of having. The eighth was Akorchin, also called the shadow animal. During break. Ida, at this point already interested, why do they call it that? Izuku, because he turned into a wolf and hunted deer behind Durble's back when he entered his territory without permission. Ida, oh, I see. Akorchin was irritated by the light, to the point that it burned his skin, so he had to resort to the shadows that the darkness provided, and thus he was able to forge his fighting skills. The youngest was Gargo. The youngest, the kindest, the most humble, the most optimistic, and if it weren't for his tragic curse he would have created envy in most of his brothers. The youngest, the kindest, the most humble, the most optimistic, and if it weren't for his tragic curse, he would have created envy in most of his brothers. His curse indicates that he will continue on happily in life, but for anyone he falls in love with, he will die an agonizing death. He lost more than a lover and tried to distance himself from the world that gave him so much happiness, but the sadness was so great that he attempted suicide. But he was interrupted by his 7 brothers and he was the first to fall into the stone sleep. Leaving school. Ida, I know it's a long story, but it seems interesting enough for a play. Izuku, I'm surprised you're not sick of listening to her yet. Ida, I am patient, and I like a very detailed answer. Izuku, okay, so where did I stay? Izuku narrates. The Great Father kept the world free of impurities that took form. Creatures of malice, corruption and imbalance. They were monsters guided by the demon Ravchuk who despised the world and life, desired death and to recreate the earth in his own image. The creatures were called Debrits or beasts of the void. They usually devour life and drink blood after killing their victims. Ida, like a vampire? Izuku, maybe, but they also absorb flesh and fluids. Ida, it sounds horrible. Izuku, it is. The Great Father fought with his last breath to get rid of these monsters. His sons fought the battles that the humans could not win, destroying any Debrits they encountered, but even in those moments they could not agree. Drammer had strategies to eradicate the enemies as a team and more efficiently. Orbagan wanted to do it his way. Durble said that nature had to be the highest priority and humans were second priority. The only daughter Euralia was the only one who tried to keep them together, but her attempts failed. her brothers splitting into their own paths. They did not understand that there were a group of Debrits emerging from the sea. She was forced to respond. She didn't want her world to fall apart, but she knew she couldn't do it alone. On the day before the battle at sea, she turned to her father for help. Euralia, oh father, bless my sword and give me the strength I need for this battle that I face without the help of my brothers. The great father listened and offered her the creation of a peerless warrior, someone who would be loyal to her and follow her orders, a shield for her and a sword. The creation of Roftax, servant of Euralia, tooth of the monster, master of hunting dogs. The creation of Roftax, servant of Euralia, tooth of the monster, master of hunting dogs. The war at sea began, and both men fought with the determination to destroy the threat. The battle would continue for days and nights, but neither side rested until every last enemy was dead. In the end, Euralia won, and Roftax proved to be a worthy ally. She named him War Champion, and his name was recognized throughout the world. But that would be the last known act. As the wars continued and the Debrits continued their advance, the Great Father had no choice. He kept his children in a stone sleep where they would sleep for centuries to come, safe from threats. The demon who wanted to destroy the world emerged from his hiding place and spoke of the death of the land. The Great Father waged an eternal war, beheading the Debrits and killing the followers of the demon. They destroyed each other with blows, each one stronger than the other. The world bled, the waters of the rivers turned into fountains of blood that ran fluidly like water. The oceans turned to lava without any end, the earth burned and the sky turned red. But at last the final war ended and the destruction stopped. But the world was too broken to be saved a second time. The Great Father with the last of his strength cast a spell that would heal the world, thus leaving his last breath. However, not before leaving two new gifts for that humanity that he loved. He created a paradise for warriors who fought faithfully to what would be right or with honor in the battle zone, and lastly he left a gift that humanity would awaken in time, powers, which they could use to defend themselves. The next day. Ida, wait a minute, did you mean Quirks? Izuku, I don't know, I just know the story as it was told to me, sorry if you find it boring. Ida, no, that's not right. I found it interesting, although I'm finding information on the internet that seems to be identical to the story you told me. Izuku, well, if you say so. The two started walking straight to class but didn't notice the person secretly watching them. They are UA students, did he attack them while they were distracted? Absolutely not, we haven't finished creating the Nomu yet, we'll continue with the attack plan, don't act now, I repeat the order, don't act now. TCH, it's okay, I'll be back. While in a faraway place, someone has just woken up from an almost endless dream. Where am I? You have returned my lady from her sleep, she is currently in her temple, but I fear that time has changed it so much that you can no longer see the sky under all this rock. Looks outside, I see. And the others? They are still sleeping, but I did as you ordered in locating and bringing each one. Very well, thank you. I live to serve you. Make the preparations, we have to wake everyone up. Bows and leaves the room. He starts using his magic, let's see how much the world has changed. Ida, the sports festival will start soon, Midoriya-kun. Izuku, festival? Ida, yes, that's how to put it, a celebration where students come together and use their quirks to test themselves. Izuku, didn't understand well. Ida, you've really never heard of things like that, it's like a tournament, so to speak, you understand? Izuku, do they compare their strengths? Ida, yes, more or less, only that they don't cause so much physical damage. Izuku, I see. Out of nowhere, a commotion erupted in the living room. The two headed out to find out what it was about and found their classmates celebrating and making noise just because the festival was approaching. Kirishima, yes. I can hardly wait any longer. I'm so anxious. Kaminari, the festival is going to be great. Mina, I can't wait to participate. Bakugo, damn extras. I'll be the #1 winner at that festival. Ida, what is this noise? Can't you see we're in a classroom? Izuku, you can see they're eager to start the festival. Bakugo, of course, because I'm going to kick your ass. Bakugo was interrupted by Aizawa, who entered the classroom for the next class. Aizawa, okay guys, today we will have a first aid training at a facility outside the school. Everyone was interested, except Izuku, who didn't understand why he should do some help if the first thing people do when they see the first sign of danger is run like crazy. Aizawa, so put on your suits and come out with me. Everyone put on their suits and headed with Aizawa to the place where they would train. Everyone had special suits, strange suits, brutal suits, except Izuku. Tsuyu, Izuku-kun, is your outfit your clothes? Izuku, I don't have a special suit, so I'll go with this one. Tsuyu, I see Karo. Suddenly the doors closed and a kind of portal opened in front of the people present. Izuku, not even impressed, what is this? A test? Aizawa, everyone stay away. It's dangerous. Leave things to us. What a shame All Might isn't here. What do you want to do, Tomura? Tomura, well, we're here, so attack the students. A bunch of villains appeared out of nowhere to attack the students. Suddenly, the villain responsible for the portal caught everyone and separated them into different places in the building. Izuku was taken with Tsuyu and taken to a boat near the water. Tsuyu, this is bad, Karo. Villain, it's going to get worse, little one. Mineta, I'll get away. Villain 2, let's take them down, and leave the others to suffer. Villain 3, good idea. Izuku, cracked his knuckles and a vein popped out, too bad I can't kill them, I'll have to break their bones. Villain, oh yeah? What? Izuku lunged at him so fast that he had no time to react and hit him so hard in the torso that he broke his ribs, causing the villain to collapse in pain, but when he did, Izuku took the opportunity to kick him in the face. The villain was thrown back while the other two were in disbelief, then Izuku took the opportunity to attack the second. He grabbed him by the arm and threw him to the ground, and in doing so he gave him a blow that ended up fracturing his arm and his entire shoulder and concluded by knocking him out and then throwing it to the third. Villain, caught his comrade's unconscious body but was thrown to the ground. What? Izuku, you were an idiot, that's what happened, broke both of his knees and knocked him out. Tsuyu, in shock from what she just witnessed. Mineta, couldn't even react. Izuku, miss, I think it's better if we look for the others. Tsuyu, blushing like a tomato, yes, of course, my name is Miss. The three of them moved quickly to meet up with the others. Izuku then focused for a moment on a building where explosions were heard and suspected the ash blonde was there since he heard screams with swear words. When he met up with the other students, he found a blonde with a lightning bolt in his hair with an idiot face. Izuku, and what happened to this one? Jiro, he went over his limit and that's why his brain seems to be toasted. Kaminari, hey, giving thumbs up. Izuku, I see. Is he risking brain cells every time he goes over his limit? Some of the villains would be defeated, others would be beaten almost to death by Izuku, who only focuses on breaking bones since he cannot kill them. Then the moment would come where Ida mentions that he would go look for help. It would happen like the original story. When Ida left the place, Tomura was irritated since one of the students escaped to look for help. But I consider that it was not important since it could still cause a great impact, causing damage to others. Tomura, well, there is still time for them to arrive. Nomu attack them and kill at least 5 or 4 to show that the symbol of peace failed. The Nomu moved with impressive speed and decided to target a black-haired girl first. It was about to hit her, but out of nowhere, someone pushed it out of the monster's direction, and it was hit instead. Everyone was in shock. Who could go to save her in time and even be willing to take the hit? Jiro, yeah, Rozu, are you okay? Momo, huh? Yes. What happened? Tomura, he. What an idiot, Nomu attacks others. The Nomu ran back straight to the students and hit Kirishima, who fortunately had time to harden his skin but was thrown far away by the force of the impact. Then it was Sero who managed to escape with luck using his quirk. But then he went to Todoroki, who froze him but dedicated himself to getting away from the monster's sight since he knew that it would have no effect on him, until finally he reached Tsuyu and she could not escape. Then Sato and Shoji tried to get the Nomu off him but were knocked down like chess pieces. The Nomu grabbed her by the neck and proceeded to squeeze. Izuku only lay on the ground motionless without strength and only watched with his last strength as the creature suffocated the girl he protected. That same scene filled him with hate, fury, resentment, anger, to such an extent that he stopped thinking and just made the effort to get up as if nothing had happened, which he achieved without problems. The Nomu continued to suffocate the poor girl but stopped as a voice was heard. Izuku, there is no honor. The Nomu released Tsuyu and stood still looking at the boy he hit, who stood up curiously. Izuku, attacking those who can't protect themselves. The Nomu took 3 steps forward. The others stood silently watching what had happened. Izuku, there is no honor in that. There is no honor. You have no honor. The Nomu turned his head, he didn't understand and decided to address the boy as if nothing mattered to him. Izuku, and for that, I'll kill you. The emerald eyes disappeared, replaced by pure red eyes that glowed like furious scarlet. The emerald eyes disappeared, being replaced by pure red ones that shine like furious scarlet. The pain the green-haired boy felt disappeared, no trace of forgiveness was in his gaze. His eyes that had a certain dead appearance changed to an expression full of resentment focused on the Nomu who was approaching. But in the same way that his eyes changed, so did his muscles. Izuku caught the Nomu with his right arm as it grew. Nobody believed what they saw. The green-haired boy who was small was becoming a tank of pure muscle. The Nomu was taken by surprise, then Izuku threw him to the other side of the building. But when some students saw this as a sign of hope, someone saw it as a sign of danger. Aizawa, run, coughs run, he's lost his mind, you have to run now. Coughs and falls to the floor. Momo, Aizawa-sensei. Jiro, oh, get out of here. Kirishima, we can't just leave him alone and fight that thing. Bakugo, I'm afraid that's the only thing we can do. That deku took the hit and continues fighting as if nothing happened, we'll just get in his way. Kirishima, but. Bakugo, Kirishima, I understand you, but we can't even scratch that thing. Kirishima, damn, you're right. Suddenly the cavalry arrived. Ida looked out to see everyone and was glad they were okay, but he wondered something. Ida, where's Midoriya-kun? Uraraka, Ida, thank goodness you came, we would have been in real trouble if Midoriya-kun hadn't turned into that. Ida, what? Sees the Nomu fighting with an overgrown green-haired man, what did I miss? All Might, commit young Tenya, I will take care of that problem. Snipe, so what are we waiting for? Ms. Midnight, to them. And so the assembled heroes would charge forward. The villains were being defeated at a faster pace. Tomura, damn. Kurogiri, I think it's time for an escape. Kurogiri, you're right, but I suggest leaving the Nomu to do a little more destruction. Tomura, okay, all of you. Let's go. Kurogiri opened a portal and took out all the villains he could from that place, leaving the Nomu behind to take care of the others. Meanwhile, Izuku, already reaching his full height, was receiving blows like crazy but ignoring the pain. The Nomu absorbed Izuku's blows, but for some reason the blows from both became stronger each time. They were tied in power and strength until when they collided fists, Izuku hit the Nomu's left arm so hard that it exploded from the pressure of the blow. The strangest thing is that this wound did not heal, causing the Nomu to stand still to look at it. Izuku took advantage of this moment to put his hands together to crush the Nomu's head, causing it to become lifeless and fall to the ground dead. All Might was in shock. What he saw was impossible to describe. He no longer knew if this child was a student or a monster, but then he noticed tears coming out of the boy's eyes. All Might, tears? All Might thought, but suddenly heard the boy's pleas. Izuku, his voice also starting to change a little, All Might? It hurts a lot. All Might, what hurts? But he didn't get an answer because Izuku fell to the floor screaming in agony, begging for the pain to stop. All Might quickly tried to hold him down so he wouldn't keep moving like crazy to pick him up and take him to the infirmary. Ida went straight to ask him but only received the answer that Izuku has to see Recovery Girl immediately. All Might, don't worry young Midoriya, I'll take you to the infirmary as soon as possible. Sato, All Might, let us help you carry it. Shoji, please, it's the last thing we can do since he saved Su-chan from that thing. All Might, you are so kind, but I'm afraid that, Dash was interrupted by Momo, who started to carry. Momo, I can create a stretcher big enough to make it easier to carry. She started creating it, taking everything away. Kirishima, I want to help too. Bakugo, without wanting to admit it, me too. Ida, I want to help with this too sensei. Uraraka, me too. Tsuyu, me too. All Might, okay then, let's not waste any more time taking him there. Todoroki, I don't want to change the subject, but is anyone noticing a change in their head? Everyone watched as Broccoli's hair began to turn into a fluffy white one, and he had some kind of fragments in his skull and was starting to bleed from it. All Might went crazy with this and gave the order to take him as soon as possible. Upon arriving at the infirmary, Izuku's situation only worsened. He continued to scream in pain and nothing of Recovery Girl's treatment worked. Izuku began to make violent movements without any awareness due to the unbearable pain. The fragments began to come out of his head on their own until they realized that they were actually red horns. Like his head, his eyes continued to watery, the white part that covers them disappeared and the emerald rings turned completely red. Recovery Girl mentioned as a theory, since no treatment works, is that it is the quirk that is manifesting in the boy. The fight with the Nomu must have woken him up and that is why this is happening to the boy. She also indicated that the reason why his eyes only shone emerald is because his quirk required a hostile environment to fully develop, but even with that theory she was not entirely sure of what was happening to him. All Might was just thankful that the boy wasn't in critical danger. After a while, Izuku stopped screaming and fell asleep, so they left him there for the rest of the day. But his appearance would keep changing. The other students wouldn't care about that, what they really cared about was thanking him properly when he wakes up. After that accident, the Nomu was tested and discovered that it was incapable of thinking for itself. Like the original story, only with these changes in the way events occurred. The next day, news was given that Izuku woke up. Ida went straight to the infirmary to greet him and ask him how he was. He was accompanied by Uraraka, Yaozu, and Tsuyu, and also All Might and Aizawa, who looked like a living mummy, since they received news that Izuku received unimaginable changes in one day. When Ida arrived, he was ready to greet his friend. But he did not expect the change he went through. "Ida, Midoriya-kun, are you okay?" Midoriya, behind the curtains with a voice with a soft and slightly deeper tone, "Ida? I don't know what happened, but I'm not like before, I look different." All Might looks up at the curtains and sees two red horns. Something has changed. "Ida, Midoriya-kun, please don't hide, there are people who want to talk to you." He moves the curtains aside and is surprised by the new Izuku who is watching. The girls were blushing a little since Izuku was shirtless and had a well-formed body and his pants were too small for him. All Might and Aizawa saw that the green-haired man transformed into a creature with long white hair, black eyes with red pupils, a pair of scars from his fight with the Nomu, and a pair of large red horns. "Izuku, am I ugly?" The others were open-mouthed and had no answers to what they saw in front of them. Uraraka, not at all. You're cute and adorable. It caused Izuku to shed a small tear with a big smile at the compliment he received. Izuku, thank you. Izuku wasn't having a good time at all. His appearance suddenly changed, even to the point that an earring appeared in one of his ears out of nowhere. He reached such a height that when he calculated how tall he was, he realized that he was taller than All Might. But his senses and even his reflexes also changed. Now simple things like a pinch couldn't even be felt. His hair changed from a small green afro to long, fluffy white hair. His complexion also changed. Before it was a shiny white skin with freckles on his face, now it is a dark skin with black eyes and red pupils. His horns that apparently finished growing had a bright scarlet hue. But what disturbed him was the kind of dreams he had when he fell unconscious. They felt very familiar, as if he had lived them. He suddenly came out of his thoughts when he heard a voice calling him. "Are you feeling okay? No pain or side effects?" Izuku looked everywhere, left and right, but he couldn't find the source of the voice. "Hey, I'm down here, big guy." Izuku looked below him, finding Recovery Girl standing in front of him. He got down on his knees to be or try to be on her level. "Izuku, how long have I been here?" Recovery Girl, "Since yesterday." Izuku, "Oh." Recovery Girl, "Anyway, I wanted to tell you that if you feel well enough, you can participate in the festival." Izuku, "But participate like this?" Recovery Girl, "Look, I don't know why your appearance changed, but I can tell that this is your true appearance, so it doesn't matter what they think, what matters is that you are who you are." Izuku, "Thank you." Recovery Girl, "But don't overdo it, try to take everything slowly. If you feel bad or have any pain like yesterday, you have to leave immediately." Izuku, "Okay." While with the others in the class. Kirishima, "I hope Midoriya is okay." Ida, "Believe me Kirishima, Midoriya-kun is fine, a little different but he's in good condition." Uraraka, "Even Aizawa-sensei went to look for him after receiving news that he is in optimal condition and that he might be able to participate in the sports festival." Suddenly Aizawa appeared entering the classroom with Izuku, who would impress the other students with his new physical appearance. Aizawa, "Okay kids, Midoriya had a body change overnight, so try to get along with him now, okay?" Everyone, "Okay." Yaozu was still amazed seeing him like that. Tsuyu would be grateful to see Izuku see him in good condition. Bakugo and the other boys would be open-mouthed. Ida would be happy because his friend is okay. Uraraka would be happy that he is okay but would try not to focus on it so much to avoid blushing since her clothes are tight and it seems that at any moment she is going to explode showing her well-formed body. Mina, "Wow Midoriya, you really look good." Izuku, "Thanks, although I prefer my original state, since the ceiling is almost not high enough for me to fit in." Hagakure, "Midoriya-kun, is that the biggest clothes you have available?" Izuku, depressed, "Unfortunately yes." Aizawa, "Well, it doesn't matter, now get ready because the festival is about to begin." All, yes. Ida, how noisy. Uraraka, something tells me it won't be easy. Izuku, I just hope I don't get left behind. While elsewhere. Oh, how cold, where's a hot spring lake when you need it? You were in a long sleep, brother, how are you? Sister, long time no see. He stands up to hug her, she just accepts it. Oh, you were always the most innocent of all of us, how could I not accept a hug? Sorry if you didn't notice. We're underground. For the love of. Orbagan, can't you just shut your mouth for once in your life? Orbagan, am I the only one who wants to get out? Aren't you going to shut them up, Drammer? Drammer, both of you, be silent. Don't you see that we are in a different era? This is not the world we knew. But he started it. Drammer, Durble, you too, the other mentioned, just look to the other side. Don't you see that only we are left from our family? Don't you see that in this time we have to unite? Why do we have to divide ourselves? If I knew they were going to fight, I would have left them asleep. Everyone looks at her. But I need you as much as you need me, you are my brothers and I am your sister. Don't let your differences divide you like last time. What if you know what happened back then, right? All the brothers just stared at the floor in shame at what had happened. The day they failed their mother. The youngest one just burst into tears while one of his older brothers comforted him. Father sacrificed himself for us, because he knew we would live to protect what he left behind. We did not let him down. Everyone looked at her with respect and nodded. Okay, let's do it, for Dad's sake. All, for Dad. After that the others would go to make preparations on how to get out of the underground, but the eldest son went to his sister. Drammer, Euralia. Euralia, what happened? Drammer, I know it's impossible but I'd like to know if you can find someone for me. This was basically a time skip from the beginning of the obstacle course. Midoriya, I arrived first. P. Mike, and Izuku. Midoriya arrives first using the mines and using them to make him fly to catch Todoroki and Bakugo. Todoroki and Bakugo arrive. Todoroki approaches him, I have to tell you that I am impressed, although you are faster than you look, you used your head to catch up with me, I congratulate you. He gives him his hand and Izuku accepts it and they both greeted each other. Izuku, I actually have to thank you too, I wouldn't have gotten such an idea if you weren't more advanced. Todoroki, hee hee, well whatever you say, I hope to face you again at the next event. Izuku, of course. Bakugo, being held from a distance by Kirishima, Deku, I'll tear you apart. I'll beat you in the next event. Izuku, gave the thumbs up gesture. Then Midnight mentioned the next event, which would be the cavalry event, where a group of 4 or 3 people would have to get a certain amount of points to win while keeping someone on top with a points tape without them falling to the ground. Izuku didn't know who to go with, he thought about going with Ida but couldn't find him, he didn't know who to go with but he found Uraraka asking him to be her partner. Uraraka, Midoriya-kun, would you mind being my partner in this event? Izuku, no problem. Then Tokoyami appeared, who was alone. Uraraka invited him to join them and he joined them, but suddenly a pink-haired girl appeared asking them something. Hi, I'm Mei Hatsume, can I join you? Uraraka, of course. Mei, I can't wait to show you my babies. Uraraka what? Izuku, already worried. Mei, look at it, shows a cute backpack, I've been working on it for a long time and it's ready now. Uraraka, oh thank God he means his inventions. Izuku, relieved. The event started and everyone was working hard to reach the top of the statistics. Izuku's group was composed as follows, he is a base, since he is taller and is very heavy to carry, and surprisingly the other 3 on his shoulders since they do not weigh anything. Tokoyami was on his right shoulder, Mei on his left and Uraraka on his head. They managed to take ribbons and dodge the others, giving instructions to Izuku where to go and when to attack. It was easy for Uraraka to not have to worry about her ribbon being stolen since it was very high up out of most of the others' reach, since Izuku is very big, and who wanted to get in the way of someone who looked like a bull mixed with Hulk. But that didn't stop most of the others from trying. Such was the case with Bakugo, who tried to steal the tape and almost succeeded if it weren't for Izuku, who grabbed him the moment he flew close and threw him back to Kirishima's. But coming to the last minutes, the team's tape was taken away by Todoroki's team. In a desperate attempt to get it back they only got a smaller amount than they had before, and when they made a last effort time ran out. Izuku, somewhat sad, sorry. I should have been faster. Uraraka, what is this feeling of tenderness and need that I feel? And don't worry Midoriya-kun. It was just an event. There's no need to be sad, her hair that felt fluffy and soft starts to rustle. May, I'm just happy to use my baby so don't worry. Tokoyami, I'm just thankful that we scored good points so don't worry. Focuses on Uraraka, aren't you planning on getting off? Uraraka, well, I was thinking of staying up here for a few more moments if Midoriya-kun doesn't mind. Izuku, I have no problem with that. Uraraka, it's so adorable. Then they arrived at the sparring event, where they would have to fight until the opponent was knocked out of the line or until they couldn't take it anymore. The first fight was Midoriya versus Shinsu. The purple-haired boy was somewhat surprised. Shinsu, wow, you're really big. What's your name? Izuku Midoriya. Suddenly Midoriya felt his body moving on its own. He headed for the exit but suddenly came out of his trance. Izuku shakes his head, what was that? Shinsu, how did you do it? Izuku, I don't know, again falling into control of him, but he came out and repeated the process until Izuku knew what was happening and got a little annoyed. Shinsu was scared, the big guy seemed annoyed at being messed with his mind. Izuku quickly approached him, he tried to dodge him as much as he could but he couldn't because Izuku managed to catch him. Shinsu was already full of fear when Izuku picked him up, the bigger one carried him like a suitcase and took him to a place. Shinsu was shocked to see that Izuku just put him out of line without any kind of damage, he just defeated him without hurting his opponent. Shinsu, why? Why? Did you have the chance to hit me? Izuku looks up at the sky, our differences are very clear, so much so that it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight, you have no advantage and I can fracture your skull effortlessly, where is the honor in that? Shinsu reflects on what he said and watches him walk off towards the stands. The rest of the fights will take place and the last ones to qualify for the finals are Izuku, Todoroki, Tokoyami, and Bakugo. When Todoroki's fight against Izuku was approaching, Midoriya met Endeavor the number 2 hero, who could not believe what he saw. Endeavor, you're the little berserker kid who was taken to UA? How did you get so like that? Izuku, I don't know, I don't even know how this got to me and I never wear earrings, shows the earring in his ear. Endeavor, more nervous and less willing to provoke him, well, your fight with Shoto will be soon, try not to hurt him. Izuku, whatever you say, leaves Endeavor alone. Shoto, you say that because I'm your masterpiece, isn't that right, old man? Endeavor, you have to beat that moan, is interrupted. Shoto, and what makes him a monster? His appearance? Because he's a berserker? If you ask me, he's not as bad as he seems. He risked himself to save a friend he doesn't know and face the Nomu alone when he was about to kill someone. What makes him a monster? Endeavor, annoyed, you have to beat him. Shoto, humph, maybe he is the one who has to win. Shoto leaves, leaving his father upset. Mike, the next battle will be between Todoroki Shoto and Midoriya Izuku. Who will emerge victorious? The son of the number 2 hero or UA's Minotaur? Aizawa, they gave him a nickname so quickly? And why UA Minotaur? Mike, well, I heard a large majority of students call him that since he looks more or less like one and studies at UA, although it would be a good hero name if he decides to use it. Aizawa, yes, but I also heard that most of the other students are afraid of him since he almost seems like a villain or a henchman of one. Mike, really? Just look at him. Doesn't he give you the impression that he's adorable? Aizawa, it's because of the accident. Since word got around that he lost control when facing the Nomu, many started to think what would happen if he decided to do the same to his own kind. Mike, is it a similar case with some heroes who look like villains? Aizawa, apparently so. Midoriya showed great determination to become a hero in recent days and put himself in danger to protect the other students. I'm sure he would be a great hero with dedication, effort, and the right guidance. Mike, did you hear that, listeners? Anyone can be a hero, no matter what their quirk or appearance is. Now, let's watch the battle of the two aspiring hero students. Midoriya and Todoroki stepped onto the platform. Everyone was screaming excitedly, although others were a little worried. Todoroki has the power of ice and fire. Izuku is not only 4 or 5 times bigger but also more resistant to damage, although it is unknown how he will fare against elemental attacks. The two stood in that arena, staring at each other thinking about how to approach this situation. While in the stands, Ida, I didn't see Midoriya-kun's potential in the accident but I'm sure this won't be easy for him. Uraraka, I hope no one gets hurt. Bakugo, inner voice, if Deku defeats half-half I'll be in serious trouble, if half-half wins it will be easier for me. In the sand. Izuku, good luck, getting ready. Todoroki, same way, preparing himself too, but suddenly when the fight started Izuku spoke again. Izuku, I'm somewhat used to the cold, you'll have to use your full potential. Todoroki, I won't use that man's quirk. Izuku, relaxing his posture, I wasn't this wasn't my body, but you, that's your quirk, not anyone else's. You use it at will and you control it, you are different from the person you hate. And blah blah things like in the original story. Todoroki, thinks about it, thank you. And the two left seriously. Todoroki tried to hold Izuku in one place with his ice and then hit him with his fire. Izuku broke Todoroki's ice and dodged the fire just in time before it could touch him and tried to hit Todoroki, who dodged. But suddenly Izuku felt strange, he felt small dizziness to the point that his head was spinning. His vision also changed because in one instant he saw Todoroki in the sand and in the other he saw a meadow with a river with clear water and a woman with her back turned. He lost his balance and didn't know what he was seeing. All Might, who was watching what was happening, realized. Endeavor also noticed that something was strange. Todoroki knew what was wrong with him, but he kept attacking. Izuku's vision was changing almost every 5 seconds. He knew he was in a fight with Todoroki, but why did those visions seem so familiar to him? He was already having more difficulty avoiding Shoto's attacks and the visions weren't helping him at all. Out of nowhere a vision appeared when Todoroki managed to land a fire punch. Izuku was on the floor desperately trying to get up and someone whose face he couldn't see stabbed him in the chest with a sword. The pain burned. It was so much that he fell to his knees, but out of nowhere he started vomiting. Todoroki got worried and everyone got alarmed. Izuku then made the gesture that he couldn't continue. P. Mike, and Midoriya is unable to continue. The victory goes to Todoroki. Endeavor, Shu Tou, like the original story. Todoroki, are you okay? Izuku, I think I have to go to the infirmary, I feel dizzy. He falls a little and Todoroki stops him. Todoroki, I don't think that was because of my quirk. Izuku, it wasn't. I was seeing illusions or something. All Might appears, are you okay, young Midoriya? Suddenly they became alarmed because Izuku started bleeding. The blood was coming from his chest. Izuku ripped off his shirt and found no cut, but his chest was filled with blood. His blood. Izuku began to feel tired and collapsed to the ground. All Might quickly picked Izuku up and took him to the infirmary as fast as he could. Everyone became alarmed and P. Mike announced a pause before continuing with the finals. P. Mike, we regret the inconvenience to those who are concerned. We will take a break before continuing with the finals. Aizawa leaves the room. I'll go see what happened to him. P. Mike, okay, but come back, we still have to announce this. Somewhere else. Euralia, I found Drammer. Drammer, really? Where is it? Euralia, first of all, understand that this is not who you knew before. Drammer, what do you say? Izuku was unconscious, almost tortured by the same vision over and over again. His death where a sword is pierced through his chest, feeling the pain and watching the event over and over again, but then the woman he saw from behind appeared. He saw her body move towards her, but just as she approached he was blinded by a bright light. Then he saw two men with horns arguing and they called him by a name that he didn't hear or understand, but they called him. He saw them and they both told him to decide and shook his hands. In the physical world, All Might and Aizawa watched as Izuku trembled and mumbled in pain. They were worried and waited as long as they could until Recovery Girl arrived. What they didn't know is that someone different would come to heal Midoriya, someone with important news. Izuku, is that man? Me? I looked at the figure standing surrounded by white light. The figure had a mask which only looked like a bull. The figure passed by Izuku, the axes he carried were being dragged by him. Izuku watched him walk away and felt the need to follow him. He looked at the walls of the corridor he was in. They seemed to have writings and drawings on them, which seemed to be from a temple. Izuku looked and was surprised by each carved drawing that looked like him. Out of nowhere he heard a child scream and started running straight to the source of the sound. When he arrived he froze at the horror he saw. Izuku, what? What am I doing? Izuku watched as the figure of him ate children. He just stood there paralyzed without being able to do anything. He tried to move but it was in vain. He just kept watching him as he devoured the defenseless children. I tried to move but it was in vain. I just kept watching him devour the defenseless children. 13. Izuku falls to his knees and vomits. Why? Why do I do this? Why is that your true form, Berserker? Izuku would look everywhere but wouldn't see anything. Who said that? I said it. Son. Izuku, I don't have a father, is suddenly lifted up and a man appears who was obviously not human. You are my son and I am your father. Izuku managed to get a good view of his appearance. Give me back my son. We can both free ourselves from the world that hates us. Looked at the man's face once more. You're crazy. It's not madness, it's determination. Determination to finish what was started a long time ago and to be able to connect with you, son. Your eyes are like mine. The stranger runs his hand through her hair. Your hair is also like mine, but you have a natural beauty like your mother. He lifts his face slightly. Remember this reunion. I will come back for you. 8. Izuku was lifted straight up with no way to stop. He kept going up and up. He saw the ceiling disappear and only a bright light was left. He took one last look at the ground to see his double watching him gain height. All she did was take off her mask so Izuku could look at her. He understood the meaning. It was a look that was begging him to save him, to get him out of his miserable state. Izuku reached the top. He suddenly fell onto a floor of a surface that seemed like a cloud. When Izuku began to think about the worst, a voice calmed him. Are you okay? You're not dead yet. You're completely full of life. The reason you're living this is because you're in your subconscious. Izuku, my subconscious? Looked to the side where the voice came from and was in shock when he saw who it was. Izuku, you. My name is Gargo, or you can call me Gage. Nice to meet you. Izuku gives a praise. Gage, we don't do that here. Izuku, oh sorry. I just thought that. Gage, ha, no need to apologize. You're young and this is your first time meeting me, so let's get to the point. Gestured for him to come closer. Izuku approached him and sat with him for a while talking. While in the physical world everything was going well, Bakugo won and everyone would be having a great show in the last moments of the sports festival. But some were worried since Midoriya still hadn't woken up. The last thing Recovery Girl mentioned was that his temperature grew and he suddenly had a fever. And about the blood, he didn't know where it came from, since there wasn't a single scratch on Izuku's body. At the end of the festival, Uraraka went to see if Izuku had woken up. He didn't, and this made her quite sad. But in Izuku's subconscious. Gage, well, I think that's enough for today. I'll look for you with my sister, but in the physical world. Izuku, it's an honor to meet you, Gage-sama. Gage, haha you are so cute, runs his hand over it as if it were a puppy. Anyway, I think it would be better to send you with your new clothes. I think they will fit you much better since they are not as tight as the ones before. Izuku, thank you. Gage, first of all, you saw Roger, right? Izuku, do you have the same eye and hair color as me? Gage, and a red horn or another color if? Izuku, yes, he calls me son for some reason. Gage puts his hands on his shoulders. Gage, don't pay attention to him, that is the king of the devourers of men, prince of dark magic. He can change his appearance to a quite different one, but don't pay attention to his temptations, they will lead you to a fate worse than death. Izuku, I understand. Gage, good. Well now to send you home. Izuku, okay, thanks, but how are you going to do that? Is taken and flown through the sky of his subconscious. Gage, yeet. Izuku, coming out of the subconscious and entering the physical world. But what? Where? The infirmary? Sees Uraraka paralyzed. Uraraka? Izuku. Where did those clothes come from? Why did they suddenly appear out of nowhere? Izuku, long story but I can explain it to you somehow. I think I can. Suddenly she hugs him because she was worried about him and is grateful that he woke up. Uraraka, don't scare us like that again, okay? He returns the hug. Izuku, I won't do it. Uraraka, okay. Thanks. But you're crushing me. Izuku. Izuku, quickly releases her, oh sorry. Next day. Izuku, and that's what happened. Although I don't know if you're going to believe me about the illusions. Everyone, are you crazy or are you special? Izuku, anyway, what I wanted to say is, sorry if I worried a few people about my unexpected departure from the festival. Aizawa, worried? You're scaring me to death, boy. He really cares about his students. Aizawa, but I'm happy that at least. Midoriya, what is that light behind you? Everyone didn't know if it was a villain attack or a bomb, but they left the room as quickly as possible. Izuku stayed behind, but Tsuyu and Momo stayed with him. Meanwhile with Ida and Uraraka. Ida, we all came out fine. Uraraka, Ida-kun, where is Izuku? Ida, that tiny-brained giant. Izuku held on to enough courage to approach the light. Yaozu, Izuku-kun, stay away. Tsuyu, Midoriya is very dangerous, don't risk it. The two felt their eyes burning from seeing the light. Izuku quickly turned around and went to cover them. And he turned to the light that shone more intensely. Izuku, stop. Don't you see they hurt them? The light stopped shining, and the two's eyes healed and they saw the boy on his knees covering them with a strong expression on his face. From the place where it was shining came a very beautiful woman and a man with white hair and some yellow in his clothes. Gage, hi Izuku, as I told you, I looked for you with my sister, although I would wait for a more appropriate time. Euralia inspects Izuku and even starts touching him. So you are Izuku Midoriya, you are bigger than last time, your body is certainly adapted to the life of mortals. Izuku, blushing, what's going on? Ida, Midoriya-kun, are you fine? What's going on here? Aizawa, where is Mito, who are you? Euralia stops inspecting Izuku, I am someone who is much older than you imagine, human. Aizawa, that doesn't reason. Aizawa is frozen in place, unable to move or speak. What I didn't know is that the rest of the school is like that. Yeah Rozu, what's going on? I can't move. Tsuyu, I can't move a muscle. Izuku, worried, stop. What are you doing to him? Euralia attracts the others and sits them down, I'm just going to gather you together to clear some things up. Then everyone was gathered. Euralia, and that would be all, any questions? Mineta, yeah, you're pretty and beautiful, but I'd like to know, how come you haven't aged? Okay, maybe you're a goddess, but couldn't you at least age a little? Euralia, I don't know, Roftax, a man in his 20s appeared from a black portal scaring most of the other students. Roftax, shall I call my wife? Euralia, do you think I should have aged a little? Roftax, her beauty is relentless, but I'm afraid it makes her look too young than necessary. Euralia, thank you very much, I appreciate your honesty. Roftax, I live to serve you, disappears into a pool of black water that disappeared with the Bakugo, okay, what the hell happened? Euralia, you're into something you wouldn't understand. Bakugo got upset. Uraraka, okay, so what if they are gods? But what does Midoriya-kun have to do with this? Euralia, well you see Izuku is the reincarnation of the son of an old enemy of ours, and the reason why we came here is because if that enemy manages to capture or obtain Izuku before us, chaos will break out throughout the world. Aizawa, how can we trust you? Euralia, uses magic to teach them the truth and what would happen, we are their only allies. Aizawa, well let me talk to Director Nezu. Euralia, oh don't worry, we already have someone fixing that. Aizawa, who? Gage, someone. Reliable. With the director. Nezu, this tea is great. I've never tasted anything like this in my life. Ganadron, I'm glad you liked it so much. Euralia, finally, I ask you to please take good care of Izuku, makes a Japanese bow. Aizawa, why are you asking this? Are you his? Euralia, stands up quickly, oh of course not, I'm not his mother, but I'm asking you because he'll be in danger and we'll have two options, the first would be to stay with him, but we don't have room for young people in the temple, and the other, well, if he resisted us or decided to hurt innocent people. Well, it would be. Ma. Kill him? A drop of anime-style sweat comes out of her. Izuku, incredulous. Uraraka, stopped in front of him protecting him. Ida, next to Uraraka. Aizawa, that's a bit much, don't you think? Euralia, well yes, but since he is studying here to be a hero I see that you can keep him safe. Bakugo, and why do we have to protect that deku? All Might, launched straight into the living room with some of his clothes torn and bleeding a little, everyone back. Out of nowhere comes a creature with dark skin like coal and its upper jaw to its head like a skull. It looked like a bear but with buffalo horns and red eyes, the saliva that fell from its mouth was like acid, and it was faster than it looks. The monster attacked All Might again and he tried to dodge to give it a finishing blow, but when he did it he did not have the result he expected. The creature gave him a swipe that he could almost dodge and continued to throw him to the ground. Out of nowhere All Might was captured by purple roots that tied him up and became stronger every time he tried to break them. The bear went to the others, growled aggressively. Koda was going to try to communicate but the creature spoke heading towards Izuku. Creature, you will come with me, even stood up and pointed at him with his finger. Izuku, when pigs fly. The creature ran too. Some of the students attacked it but were knocked down like they were nothing. The creature approached Izuku and began to say a spell which Izuku interrupted by hitting it in the face and pushing it away from him. When the creature was going to say the spell again, Gage cut it with his sword and Euralia destroyed what was left of the monster. All Might, released, what was that thing and who are you? Aizawa, I'll explain everything to you later. But what was that thing? Euralia, it was a debrit. Izuku, didn't believe it. Ida, it seems your story was true Midoriya-kun. Some time later. The two gods left and Izuku found himself in the principal's office. Nezu, young Midoriya. Izuku, yes? Somewhat worried. Nezu, you have great power that has not yet reached its true potential, and it seems that there are things in the world that are beyond our control, shows photos and video of what happened with the debrit. With what they told me, I think it would be a pleasure to have you at UA to train you to be a hero so that you use your power with the necessary responsibility. Izuku, thank you, but can I ask you for something? Nezu, what thing? Izuku, a couple of new shirts in my size or some that can stretch since the others in my uniform have fallen apart. Nezu realizes, wow, you're right, that will be a problem with the school code. All Might coughs to get his attention. The point is, young Midoriya, is that your potential must be guided properly, and that's why we want you to stay at UA. Izuku, thank you. Nezu, you may go. Izuku, okay, heads to the door. How do I get out? Everyone present except Izuku facepalmed as they didn't think how Izuku's large body was going to get out of the small door. All Might wondered how he got in the first place. Outside the school, Izuku met Ida and Uraraka, who were waiting for him since they didn't care if he was a god or a monster, but suddenly Bakugo appeared as always. Bakugo, damn Deku, don't think that because you are a god you are better than me. Izuku, playing with him, but Euralia told you to protect me, so because you're protecting a god, doesn't that mean you're more important than me? Bakugo, thinks about it, move it bitches. Don't mess with me, and walks away with more pride inside his head. Uraraka, why did you do it? Izuku, I didn't want to have problems with him, but he will soon know that that part of his personality is one of his weaknesses. Uraraka, oh, I see.